I got cut early from work. It was fucking slow. I mean, it's a Thursday morning, but it was slower than usual. What time is it? It's 3, so I was like, fuck it, I'll take the long way. I'll go down the west side, then FDR, so I can tell my story. I kind of want to stop by, get some Donna Bella, but low-key I already ate a big-ass breakfast, and that seems like a little too much even for me. Alright, I know I've mentioned in the past that I went to jail, and I never gave the story. I just said it. So this is that story. And to anybody listening, please, I want you to learn from my mistakes. Alright? And before we get into the story, I just want to kind of, you know, say, obviously everything that happens to you is your fault. So everything that happened to me, everything that I'm about to say, I'm responsible for my own life, you know. Anyways, so to tell this story properly, I have to preface it by saying I was in a toxic relationship at one point. It's not my proudest moments, but not my worst moments. Maybe it was, I'm not sure. Nonetheless, toxic relationship, it's pretty whack. You know, I don't really recommend it. It's like a drug. Like, it feels good, but it's not good for you. That's probably the best way I could describe it. It's like we know it's not good, and we know it's not going to get us anywhere productive, but we do it because it just feels so damn good. Alright, so I can tell the story properly without saying this, you know, this girl's name. I'm just gonna call her Rhonda. Keep it anonymous, alright? Rhonda, like Ronda Rousey, Rhonda. Alright, so I was going out with Rhonda for a few years on and off. Like I said, toxic. I think there was a lot of things that I allowed that I shouldn't have, and I'm sure it's the same for her. Now, looking back in retrospect, I can see that it was not a healthy relationship, and not that it shouldn't have happened, but you know, I should have said no to some things, like I said. But looking back, you know, at the end of the day, I can't be mad at anybody but myself, and I'm not even mad at myself. It is, you know, we all make mistakes, we learn from them, and I don't regret, you know, because there was some good moments in there. I'm not gonna lie and tell you that it was all horrible. No, I obviously wouldn't have been in there if there wasn't some good moments, obviously. And I'm not talking about the sex. I'm talking about like person to person. You know, there was a real love from my part. You know, but that doesn't excuse the fact that it was just an unhealthy relationship. I think a lot of times people tend to stay in there or become toxic when they think like, oh no, but we love each other. Like, yeah, that can be possible, and then it still be an unhealthy relationship. I think that sometimes throws people off. I tell you what, they say the R7 is slimmer, but it don't feel slimmer. It feels obviously a little bit bigger, but I mean, numbers don't lie. It's supposed to be slimmer than the R3. Alright, so I'm in this relationship, blah blah blah. Okay, now fast forward to a Tuesday of 2021 in May. Tuesday night, right? This girl, Rhonda comes to pick me up from, at the time I was working at Canyon. Comes to pick me up in the car. We go to my house. At this point, my parents are in Mexico for vacation, or I don't know, doing what. Alexis don't live with us no more, and Danny was the only one, just me and Danny at home pretty much. So Danny stayed to close the restaurant. He was pretty much in charge. I came home with this girl, with Rhonda. So we get home. It's kind of a typical average, you know, night. We kind of eat a little bit, we're watching some TV, and I knocked the fuck out. And then I wake up to, yo, why you still got this girl's number in your phone, blah blah blah. So obviously Rhonda went through my phone. Oh yeah, this upgraded Torque is definitely a lot of fun. I don't want to sound like I'm bashing the R3. The R3 was the shit, but this Torque is just, I mean, come on. Okay, so she goes to my phone. We start fighting about it, obviously. And at this point in the relationship, it's very, very toxic. So this is obviously the tail end of the relationship, right? So that night, so now, okay, fast forward, fighting for, I don't know, probably about an hour or so, 2 hours, I don't know. Point is, at this point, we're in my room, lights are off, we're kind of set to go to bed type of, like, go to bed. We're fighting, so we're not really gonna go to bed. But you know, we're like, all right, let's take it to the room, whatever. It starts to get verbal fight, heavy verbal, then it starts to get physical. And that night, it's just a mess, honestly. Looking back, it's not, like I said, it's not something that I'm proud of, but it's what happened, you know. It's very aggressive, very physical, very verbal, very toxic, obviously. We just start fighting. She's crying, I'm tight. It's just a bad situation, you know. So I don't remember exactly how, but the point is, we knock out, right? We go to sleep. So now fast forward the next morning, I wake up around 6 a.m. And this is before I was going to the gym at 6, so I just happened to wake up at 6. And I'm like done with it, right? I'm like, you know, that was crazy. Last night was a little too much for me. I don't really want to keep doing that. Why don't you just get out and we'll just like, let's just break up, right? It's done. Relationship's over. I don't really want to keep going through this. It's not healthy. Let's just, you know, let's just leave it here. If it got bad, it got bad. Let's not make it get worse. Let's just leave it where it is and be done. Please leave my house. I'm very reluctant. She left the house. As soon as she left, I blocked the number, deleted. I was like, you know what, out of sight, out of mind. And then the blocked number calls start coming in, like the unknown private numbers start coming in, obviously. *67 and started spamming my ass. I'm trying to dub them, and then I hear just like bam 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 on my door. Like, so she comes to my door. Rhonda pulls up to the crib, and at this point Danny's doing laundry, right? So she pulls up to the crib. I'm like, please just leave, and she will just not leave, right? So I physically put her in her car. I'm fucking, oh shit, I'm wrestling her with my right hand and steering the wheel on the left in her car, getting her back to her house, right? I call her mother. I'm like, hey, Rhonda's just wilding out, please. I don't want any trouble. Just please, just you know, please keep her here. I'm trying to be done with this. So the mom's like, oh, Rhonda, what's going on? Like, yeah, blah blah. And so I give Rhonda's mom the keys to Rhonda's car, and then Rhonda just snatches them like right in front of everybody's eyes. Just snatches them, gets back in the car, drives back to my house. So me and fucking Rhonda's mom are looking like, bruh. So I gotta take a cab back to my own fucking house because I came in her car. So I'll take a cab back to my house. She's there at my steps again. Let me in. No, let's just talk. No, Rhonda, please leave. Let's just talk. And I'm like, no, please just leave, right? Okay. Well, we do actually talk a little bit, but I'm like trying to be done with it, and I guess she wasn't. Okay, now at this point, like I said, it's very verbal, it's very physical. She's back at my house again, and I'm like, all right, this is crazy. This needs to, we look like cats and dogs, just fucking pulling clothes and hand on face. It's crazy, right, from both of us. And at this point I call the police. I call them. I'm like, hey, look, she's getting, you know, there's a ex-girlfriend. She won't leave my house. It's getting physical. Can you guys please come ASAP? And NYPD don't fuck around with that domestic shit. Don't fuck around with that. They pulled up in like 2 minutes, which, you know, thank you for that, right? But so they get there. Oh, sorry, wait, before they get there, Danny comes back, sees us like all fighting and shit, and he's like tight. He's like, what the fuck is going on? I real quickly explained, I'm like, oh, she don't want to leave. And then I told him, I'm like, yo, I'll call the cops though. So Danny was like, if you already called the cops, get in the fucking house and get your hands off of her. So I'm like, all right. So I did that. We went into the house together, me and Danny. She stayed in my steps. While we were in the house waiting for the police, Danny told me, right, he was like, just know you might get arrested because of what the situation looks like. You might get arrested. But now still, I'm obviously like, okay, I had that in my head, but I'm hoping I don't get arrested, right? I mean, I call the police. So long story short, the police come. They're like, okay, what happened? I tell them, you know, she don't want to leave. Ex-girlfriend is trying to get physical, whatever. So they're like, we're gonna write up a domestic report, so this won't go on nobody's record. Nobody has to get arrested. Blah blah blah. I'm like, all right, bet, whatever. And then they ask me, are you hurt? I'm like, no. Then they ask her, are you hurt? And she says yes. Then they're like, David, put your hands behind your back. I'm like, bruh. But while I was getting handcuffed, the cop that was handcuffing me was like, what happened to your lip? Because my lip was busted. My bottom lip was busted. And then they're like, okay, now Rhonda, you put your hands behind your back. So we both got arrested. But this is my story, not about her. Okay, so at this point, it's Wednesday at like around 11 or 12 a.m. or 11 a.m. 12 p.m. I have Uniqlo sweats on, a short sleeve fucking thin shirt, and my Yeezys on. You know what, let's get to the left side because all the people on the right lane be coming back into the middle, and that should be dangerous. Oh, evidently not just them. Okay. Alright, so at this point, even just getting arrested, I'm like, fuck, this is my first time getting arrested. Like, what the fuck's going on? Like, already I'm a little baffled. I'm like, bruh, what am I doing in my life that I'm getting arrested? Like, bruh. And it's not even for some, I always thought if I got arrested, alright, maybe because like I ran from the cops on the motorcycle or something like that. Like, none of them, like, not some bullshit like this. So I'm reflecting a little bit. Now I get to the precinct. They made me take my laces off, take my mug shot. I posed like you're and I'm in there with some like short stocky Vietnamese guy and some tall 200-pound Greek guy. The stay there wasn't really too, you know, wasn't anything exciting. It was pretty fucking boring. They came and took my fingerprints twice. I don't know why. They fucked up the first time. They loaded us up into the paddy wagon at around 8 p.m. to take us to Central Bookings. I'm like, bruh, like, all right, that's jail. I was like, you know, that's jail. So I'm like, fuck, like, shit is whack. I'm not supposed to be here. I think Rhonda was the only girl that day in the precinct getting transferred to Bookings. And for guys, it was like 4 of us. Bro, they handcuffed us to our back, and then with one chain connected all of us. I'm like, what am I, a fucking animal? I mean, I guess, you know, whatever protocol, but I felt that was real dehumanizing to me. So anyways, we make it to Central Bookings. I mean, the process in there, they kind of, you know, take another mug shot. It's a whole nother little process. I'm not gonna get into it. It's not really exciting. Whatever. They make you check in. I don't know. It's fucking weird. It was weird. Whatever. They make me take my shoe, shake it. Like, okay, you check. There's nothing inside. And so at this point, I'm actually seeing Rhonda. Like, I'm face to face with Rhonda. Shit is mad awkward. We're there. They split us up. She goes to the girls. I go to the guys. And from there, I'm put in a big cell, like, which houses like 20 niggas. Cause at this point it's just very generous, just everybody's in there. Then they go putting them in sections. Okay, this is domestic violence, this is, you know, traffic violation, speeding or whatever, I don't know. So there I actually managed to like knock out, like take a little nap for like 20-30 minutes. But when I knocked out, it was like 10 of us, and when I woke up, there was like the 20 niggas. And it was just all types of people, bro. It was an Indian guy with ashy ass skin who looked like he was definitely on the spectrum, but he was in there, so he must not be a good person. Actually, that's not true. I was in there. I'm a good person. There was a fucking guy dancing like the Joker, like just by himself to the corner. That was probably the scariest guy. There was another nigga getting in everybody's face, like, yo, I'm that nigga. Like, he was like a small person. Like, he was like a Puerto Rican guy, but he was small. He wasn't even brolic. But he was like, yo, I ran up on them niggas. I'm that nigga. I was like, all right. There was him. There was an Indian guy. There was a Joker. And then there was like some other just chill guy. There was like an Asian guy in there. He looked like, I'm like, bro, did you make it out of like math after school? You shouldn't even be here. What are you doing here? Just the most unmenacing looking kind of person. So there really was like everybody, like all different types of people in there. So they had told me in the precinct, they're like, oh, you'll probably make it out by midnight. You'll see the judge late. You'll probably be one of the last ones to see the judge. You make it out by midnight-ish. And then you'll be home. I'm like, okay. So I'm now in Central Bookings. I'm kind of just waiting to see the judge, and I'm like, waiting, and they're like, okay, judge is closed, you'll see him tomorrow morning. And I have to check around. I'm like, so we're staying the night? Like, what? They're like, yeah, you're staying the night. Bruh, goddamn, my heart dropped like when you're in first grade and they catch you cheating on a test, like that kind of heart drop. Like, no. I was like, no, I'm not spending the night in jail, bro. No, not me. Chill. Bro, I shed a tear. Some nigga in jail was like, you crying, nigga? I was like, no, I'm not. Shit was horrible. That night was fucking restless. The fucking wall, floor, and benches are all made out of the same material, which is like fucking stone. And it's like fucking 45-50 degrees in there. It is cold. Some niggas had hoodies. You know, you can tell them niggas who's been in there, because they had, like, they came with, they had shorts and all that, and then they bought a hoodie. All right, so that night was just horrible. Like, that was the biggest, like, being in jail was horrible, but the biggest upset was just being there overnight. That shit was not good. That's what I'm saying. So my youngins, don't do nothing stupid, because you don't want to spend the night in jail. It wasn't like, I didn't almost die in there, but that shit was not it, bro. Like 0 out of 10. Would not recommend. Do not do nothing illegal, or don't get yourself in trouble. So the next morning, I wake up around 7 something, and I only know there was 7 in the morning because somebody asked, yo, CO, what time is it? It's like 7 something. The judge opens up at 9. Longest 2 hours ever. Then they come into the room and they're like, okay, you, everybody come here. But they ain't call my name. I'm like, hello, what about David Ramirez? They're like, no, you're not here. My brother in Christ, what is going on? They're like, no, not you. They were like, none for Gretchen Wieners. Damn, it's about to be mad fucking traffic, bruh. Shit is not it. Oh. Psych, you would have thought I was gonna stay back there, bitch. Fuck it. Wrong way, sir. Alright, let me get the fuck out of here, bro. I don't want to be in the bike lane anymore. I don't want to squeeze through. Okay, here we go. Bikers, little ringing his fucking bell at me. Fuck you. So at this point, it's like 9 in the morning. They call everybody but me. I'm like, bruh. And unbeknownst to me, back at home, the police come to my house and check on me. Like, yo, I just want to do a general checkup. How's David? And my brothers are like, yo, that nigga's still in jail. And the cops are like, why? And then so I was supposed to be out earlier. I don't know why they kept me in so long, but anyways. Oh, I can't even focus, bro. Alright, let me get to this bridge. Hold on. Why are you driving that much on the goddamn fucking Mexican? Alright, let me try to focus. Okay, so at this point, they leave me in a cell alone for like probably 3 hours. In which time I call Alexi, speak to him for a little bit. I get Johnny, Frank, and Jason's number. I speak to them for like about an hour each. So shout out to my boys for answering and holding it down with a conversation when a nigga was lonely in jail. Earlier that day, they came in with fucking like a spork, an orange, and milk and cereal. I took everything. I took a bite. Oh my god, move, motherfucker. What is going on, buddy? What is going on? There's always something on this fucking bridge. I'm there for hours, right? At this point, it's like it hits 5 p.m. Still there. They transfer me to another cell, and they're like, okay, in this cell, means you're about to talk to your public defender, and you'll be on your way shortly. That fucking never came. The judge went on break, lunch break, so to like 6:30, and then I'm still like, yo, I have not seen my lawyer. Like, so I told this black officer, he ain't do nothing. He was like, okay, just wait. And then I told the white officer, and then he was like, all right, let me see. Oh, aggressive guy. Yeah, I need a louder exhaust. Cool. He got me my lawyer. Like, he got me to the room to see my lawyer. I told him what happened. At this point, it's like 8 p.m. Whatever. So that jail stay was horrible. But then it hits around like 10 p.m., right? Late again. And they're like, okay, come to this room. It's like the very final room right before the judge. And in that room, because I had heard it from cells away, that room had a big Mexican. Well, actually, hold on, wait. I didn't know he was Mexican. Sorry. It had I didn't even know he was big. It just had a nigga screaming, like, screaming at the fucking officers, just started mad ruckus. So I was like, oh, I don't want to go to that room. And they're like, go into that room. Bruh, it was a big fat Mexican nigga with a big scar on his eye, like across his whole face, and a big red bright Elmo hoodie. Yo, I was like, I'm gonna die here. This man is dangerous. Yo, but luckily I caught him while he was dormant. He was taking a big nappy nap. He was just laying down hogging the bench. I'm like, you know what, buddy? I'm not even tired. You can have the bench. I don't even want it. That nigga was scary. I'm there. I'm chopping it up with this is I think another like Puerto Rican guy, and then Honduran guy. The Honduran guy is like immigrant. He doesn't really talk so much English. The Puerto Rican guy looks menacing, but he's actually pretty cool. We start chopping it up. I'm there killing time for about, like I said, it's around like 10 p.m. at this point, probably like another 2 hours, and they're waiting. Finally I see the judge, and they let me off with an order of protection. Well, they placed an order of protection on both of us, me and Rhonda. So an order of protection is kind of like a restraining order. So if you have an order of protection placed on somebody, that means they can't contact you. So I have one placed on her, and she has one placed on me. Now the order of protection for me was limited, meaning she can contact me, she just can't harass me, she can't like physically hurt me, but she can contact, she can call, whatever. Me, or her rather, she had a full order of protection, meaning I can't even be 6 feet around her. I can't call, I can't text, I can't nothing. So for me it's like, bitch, you better stay the fuck away from her. But for her it's like, you can contact, just don't violate. So even my lawyer was like, Judge, Your Honor, you're wildin'. How is that fair? Like, how the fuck is that work? How the fuck is that fair for my client? But what are you gonna do? The judge said that's what it was, and that's what it was. And then they gave me a slip, like, okay, give this to the train conductor or to the booth guy at the train, and you get a ride home. I was like, I ain't taking no fucking train. So I started jogging. I got out like around 12 at midnight, nighttime. I started jogging. I was like, I'm gonna hit the mall at one point, and then I'll just jog home. And that's what I did. I just started jogging. But before I hit the mall, I hit a deli, Mexican nigga. I was like, hey, I tried to look like not, sus. I was like, hey, can I use your phone? He was like, what number? So he dialed the number. I called the Lexus. I'm like, get me an Uber now, please. I want to be home. But even better, he came with Diego, so it was nice to see them. But yeah, then what happens after jail is a whole nother story, which that'll probably be my next video, honestly. What happened after jail, after those order of protections were placed, after we're released, all the fucking bullshit that happens. That'll be my next video. I just wanted to get this one out because I did want to tell everybody what happened when I went to jail. And this bitch is a fucking gas guzzler.